Hey everyone, and welcome back to Rare Historic Tales. Today, we're diving into the story of a figure shrouded in mystery and legend, a warrior queen whose name echoes through the history of resistance, Dandara dos Palmares. While much of her life is pieced together from oral traditions and fragmented records, her spirit represents the unyielding fight for freedom in colonial Brazil. So, who was Dandara? She was a Capoeira master, a brilliant strategist, and a fierce leader in the Quilombo dos Palmares, the largest and longest-lasting settlement of escaped African slaves in the Americas. For nearly a century, Palmares stood as a beacon of hope, a self-sustaining kingdom in the hills of what is now the state of Alagoas in Brazil. And at its heart was Dandara. Unlike many who were born into slavery and escaped, historical accounts suggest Dandara might have been born free in Palmares. From a young age, she was immersed in the culture of resistance that defined the Quilombo. She learned to hunt, farm, and master capoeira, the unique Afro-Brazilian martial art that combines dance, acrobatics, and music. But Dandara wasn't just a fighter. She was a thinker. She participated in the strategic planning of Palmares defense and contributed to the community's governance. Life in Palmares was a constant battle for survival. The Portuguese colonial authorities saw this thriving free state as a direct threat to their slave-based economy and launched relentless attacks against it. Dandara was always on the front lines, leading both men and women in the defense of their home. She was known for her exceptional combat skills and her unwavering courage. She wasn't just fighting alongside the men. She was leading them. Dandara was the wife and partner of the most famous leader of Palmares, Zumbi. Together, they formed a powerful duo. They had 3 children, and Dandara's role as a mother was just as important as her role as a warrior. She was raising the next generation of free people, instilling in them the same values of courage and resilience that defined Palmares. But her partnership with Zumbi wasn't without its complexities. There's a significant historical moment that highlights her political influence and firm ideology. In 1678, the governor of Pernambuco offered a peace treaty to Ganga Zumba, the leader of Palmares at the time and Zumbi's uncle. The treaty offered freedom for all residents of Palmares, but required them to submit to Portuguese authority and relocate. Ganga Zumba was inclined to accept. But Dandara, alongside Zumbi, vehemently opposed it. She argued that this was a trap. True freedom couldn't be granted by the oppressor. It was a partial peace that would leave countless other enslaved people in chains. She believed in fighting for total liberation for all Africans in Brazil, not just a negotiated freedom for a select few. Her position was clear. A life under Portuguese rule, even if technically free, was not freedom at all. This ideological split led to a major turning point. Zumbi, backed by Dandara and other radical leaders, challenged Ganga Zumba's authority. Following Ganga Zumba's death, which some accounts suggest was a result of this internal conflict, Zumbi became the new leader of Palmares. With Dandara by his side, the resistance against the Portuguese intensified. Under their leadership, Palmares continued to thrive and resist for another 15 years. Dandara was instrumental in organizing everything from food production to weapon making. She understood that the strength of Palmares wasn't just in its warriors, but in its community. They cultivated diverse crops, developed crafts, and maintained a complex social and political structure modeled on Central African kingdoms. It was a true nation, a slice of Africa reborn in the heart of Brazil. However, the Portuguese crown was determined to crush this symbol of black rebellion. They hired notoriously brutal bandeirantes, military explorers, and fortune hunters to lead the final assault. In 1694, after a long and grueling siege, the main settlement of Palmares, Cerco Rio de Macaco, was overrun. The fortifications were breached by cannons, and a brutal battle ensued. Even in the face of certain defeat, Dandara fought to the very end. The legends surrounding her final moments are powerful. Faced with the choice between being captured and returned to a life of slavery or death, Dandara chose freedom. According to historical accounts, on February 6, 1694, she threw herself from the highest cliff of the fortress, choosing to die on her own terms rather than surrender her liberty. This final act cemented her legacy as a symbol of ultimate resistance. Her story is a testament to the fact that for the people of Palmares, death was preferable to a life without freedom. For a long time, Dandara's story was overshadowed by Zumbi's. In many historical texts, she was mentioned only as Zumbi's wife, but thanks to the work of Black movement activists and historians, her crucial role has been brought into the light. She is now recognized not as an accessory to a great man, but as a formidable leader in her own right. She was a strategist, a warrior, and a political mind who shaped the destiny of Palmares. Today, Dandara dos Palmares is a national hero in Brazil. She represents the strength and leadership of Black women in the fight against oppression. Her story challenges the often erased narratives of women in history and reminds us that the struggle for freedom has always been led by people of incredible courage from all walks of life. The history of Palmares and its heroes like Dandara and Zumbi is so important because it is a story of triumph, not just tragedy. For almost 100 years, they proved that a different world was possible, a world without slavery, built on principles of freedom, community, and self-determination. Dandara's legacy teaches us that peace without justice is not peace, and freedom without dignity is not freedom. She fought not just for her own people in Palmares, but for a future where all would be free. Her life, though shrouded in some mystery, shines brightly as a beacon for all who continue to fight for a more just and equal world. So next time you hear the name Zumbi dos Palmares, remember the warrior queen who stood beside him, who fought with him, and who held an unwavering vision of true liberation. Dandara dos Palmares. Her story is a vital part of history that deserves to be told, remembered, and celebrated. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into history. See you next time.